Yo, today we have some more of my personal goal exercises. And this video here, I've got a sticky notes and a pen. I'm planning on taking notes as we go through this to derive a lesson for both of us and hopefully, have something beneficial by the end of this. So it's kind of a similar process as to last time. And we're just going to start with personal exercise number 20, where we left off. And this is an exercise for me to write down three want goals. About, and it's about getting me into the mindset of, okay, Sam, you have a structure, which is to write your goals in a want format. Now get to writing it. Don't think about it, just start writing it. And the thing about this, it's about the mindset shift and getting me to think in a way that I don't normally think and to put myself in a practice that I don't normally practice. And that will be lesson number 1. Put yourself in a position that now let's go on to number 21. Number 21 is to write down 5 goals for 5 years from now. And this is just reinforcing that long-term thinking and escaping that thinking of instant gratification and today and whatever could be contributing to that, whether it's social media like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, getting yourself out of that today mindset, thinking about, if I realistically had to think about 5 years from now, how would I think? How would I want to go about things? What would I want to achieve? So it really accentuates thinking long term. So long term, that'll be the second thing I could take from that point. Now this is another one, to write down 5 goals from 3 years from now. Similar, it's the same goals as this one, just thinking long term, thinking about the long term future. What do you want to achieve? And I think the best thing about this is that when you ask yourself these questions, you really start to have a mindset shift if you consistently ask yourself these kind of questions. And where you started off, you might have not had any answer. As you gradually go through this process of creating these personal goal exercises, you will have the answer just like that. I promise you, it's worked for me. I know it worked for you because it's worked for me. And I'm not no special person. I'm just an ordinary individual. Okay. Number 23. Write down 2 goals 1 week, 1 month, and year from now. Now, this instantly gets me to think about perspective shift. And it's a perspective shift between, you're going from 1 week, creating 2 goals for 1 week from now, to 1 month from now, to a year from now. And you have to shift your perspective every time because you're thinking about how much you can achieve in that certain period. And I think that is very vital, very realistic, and very applicable to your day-to-day lives, as opposed to just living in a fairy tale land of only sticking to short-term goals or only sticking to long-term goals. In reality, we all follow both, whether we do it consciously and intentionally or not. We have this it's just the way our life goes. So try to cater this around all aspects time-wise. Exercise 24, and this is really focused on that perspective shift, because in my opinion, when you go from an hour creating goals for an hour from now to a decade from now, you are becoming almost like a completely different person. Really, you're thinking about, in the next hour, I can't achieve much in an hour, but I can achieve a few nice things. In a decade from now, I should really be thinking big. And that change of perspective, it gets you really thinking, and it's a really great mental exercise, which I'll add on to this. Mental exercise. Okay, so, and this is my first time doing a video like this where I write down notes as I'm doing it. If you like this, leave it down in the comments. I'll definitely do this again. to write down 5 goals for 1 year and 1 decade from now. And I'm not going to get repetitive with this, but let's look at exactly what I wrote. So for example, I try to narrow down on my own character, and I try to nail down who I am, what I want, why I want it. And this is the effects of doing this exercise and how it benefits you. You figure out who you are and what you want. So I mentioned to practice patience, practice gratefulness, change one person's life, take part in multiple sports, pass year 2 in civil engineering. In a decade from now, change 10 people's lives, practice mindfulness, run in 1 marathon, live with a purpose, travel to multiple continents. And if you're watching, if this is your first video watching, if you can see on the top left up there, it is dated to 2022. So it's over 2 years now. And this is the mindset I had back then, and I followed these goals right now. I agree with these goals 100%, and it's nice to look back and reflect. So I'll add that also. Reflection. This form of reviewing back your goals that you created when you were younger and in a different period in your life, it's a great form of reflection because it gives you insight into the kind of man and woman or woman all women you were before, and it's just a nice reflection to have, honestly. Number 26, write down 2 goals, 1 decade and life before death from now. Again, it's that perspective shift. It's a lot closer in terms of the next step from a decade. It will really be from life before death, because at that point, it's a really long time. But considering that long-term vision, and at the end when you die, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to accomplish? Who do you want to help? Those are the key questions that you should really ask yourself, and they're very valuable. Write down 1 goal from now and why. I'm just really surprised by that Malcolm X. That Malcolm X scene just caught me off guard. It just gave me a flashback. Wow. Wow, that really gave me a nice flashback. Write down 1 goal 1 decade from now and why. Fully understand Islam in depth. The understanding of Islam will bring all of the answers I am looking for in all aspects of my life. I think the most important connection you can have in your life is your relationship with God, and the most important thing you should look into is your religion and what religion you should follow. And I'll leave that to you to do the work in terms of finding that out for yourself. Exercise 28. We have a hairbrush there for my waves, and I nailed down attitude goals. And if you're just aware of me now, I've created a book that I reviewed a few months ago. It's called The 23 Attitudes. I written that book. Yeah, so I wrote that book, and it was based on this principle of attitudes that you can see listed over here, and how practicing these attitudes benefit your life, and what these attitudes even are. And I read that book in 2023 March. So exercise number 29. And I was back when I trade. I do not trade no more. Exercise number 29. Write down 1 goal 8 minutes from now, 8 days and 8 months. So following that same routine of change, that perspective shift. So number 30. To write down 4 goals, 2 years, decades, and life before death from now. And as you can see, it can get really lengthy as you continue to go on it. And yeah, and I'm trying not to delve into the specifics, because at that time I was doing different things. I was younger, and the specifics don't really matter too much. It's more about the general kind of lesson, the general lesson you can get from these. And I feel like we've nailed these few lessons here in terms of will that focus? Fortunately, I don't know if it's going to focus. There you go. Hopefully you can read that. So the final lessons is to put yourself in a position that is out of your normal, meaning out of your normal kind of comfort zone. Think long term, the perspective shift, mental exercise, reflection, and religion. Those are the key lessons that we can take from these. Just these 10 exercises, and imagine if we was to go over the next 200, because there's actually 300 exercises I do. So I'm not even showing it. There's this I get to exercise 300, which we'll get to at some point, and as to why I stopped as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching.